They say you never forget your first things that happen. You never forget your first kiss, your first girlfriend, your first car. I'll never forget the first time I saw Prince, which is in this video right behind me from the song 1999. It was quite an image to see coming across the TV screen at my friend Mike McLaughlin's house, because I did not have MTV. As a kid from Des Moines, Iowa, which isn't far from Minneapolis, about 4 or 5 hours probably from Minneapolis. But two really different worlds as far as what was going on in the music scene back then. But some people are just born to be stars, and Prince was one of those people. Now, I was probably about as different from Prince as somebody could be. You know, except for the fact that we both grew up in the Midwest, in Midwestern cities, the capital cities of our respective states. But I was listening to, if I listened to music, it was Journey. It was the REO Speedwagon, And one day I'm over at my friend Mike McLaughlin's house, and on the TV comes this guy singing basically about the end of the world. And I'd never heard funk music, really. Not like that. And it was kind of groundbreaking to me, and it shook me to my core. Because I was a nerdy kid. I was picked on a lot. And I tried to fit in. And this guy, Prince, man, he made me realize that you didn't have to fit in. You could blaze your own trail and be who you are and be your own person. And I needed to hear that at that point in my life, because I had just about given up and didn't really want to keep going. High school was rough for me. It was really hard. And back then, bullying and picking on someone was the norm. It was just what happened. Teachers didn't even try and stop it back then. If you got picked on, you were told it was your fault because you made yourself a target. You needed to learn to fit in. You needed to conform. You needed to be what they wanted you to be. Then suddenly there was this guy on my friend's 24-inch color television set singing about things that I'd never thought of, and talking about how you could be who you were, who you wanted to be. And this was before Purple Rain. This was 1999, and I just couldn't get enough. I started listening to and I'll tell you what, if you thought I got picked on before, being a Prince fan at my school was not considered cool in 1982. Let me tell you, I was not one of the cool kids for that. But man, Prince kind of showed me a way, and it led me down a path that I didn't realize I could go down. It made me start to see music as something other than something to be consumed. It made me start to see it as something that could mean freedom and help your imagination and expose you to different worlds. And from there, I got into, punk music, because Prince had a lot of punk in him. Funk, rock and roll that I would have never listened to. Old rock and roll. My mom, though, I will tell you that my mom instilled my musical taste in me. She loved music, and at some point before she met my dad, she had dated a DJ, so she had all these 45s, and it was around the same time I discovered Prince that we got a stereo with a turntable and a tape deck in it, and you got to understand, we were poor. When I say we were poor, I'm not exaggerating. We were pretty poor. We couldn't afford a lot of things, and my dad was really sick. My dad passed away at 48 years old. But before he passed away, he bought a record player and a combination tuner tape deck and a couple of Radio Shack speakers. And I learned that I could take my mom's old 45s and put them on cassette for her so she could listen to them in her car. And through that, I discovered a lot of music. A lot of music. My first concert was Chubby Checker, if that tells you anything, because my mom wanted to see him. He was at the Autorama car show in Des Moines. I think the same one where I met Eric Estrada, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, so I started to discover music, and through all the music I discovered, Prince has been a constant. Not too many years later, I moved down here to Texarkana, and I think in my last video I told a story about how I walked from Guam Street in Wake Village here, where I live now, actually only about a mile from here, about the half mile or so to the Kmart, which is no longer there, to buy Prince's Parade album, the music from the movie Under the Cherry Moon, which a lot of people are not fans of that album, but I am a huge fan of that album ever since that day. And I remember walking home with it and unwrapping it, and I remember the smell of the plastic, and so I just decided to dig through something and see, because I thought maybe I still had it, and I do. 40 years ago, I bought this cassette tape. So yeah, that is my 40-year-old copy of the music from the movie Under the Cherry Moon, the Parade album. This is the album that had Kiss on it, which was really his only hit. Everything else on here was far too experimental and different to be on the radio. But this album is a work of genius, and if you've never listened to it in its entirety, from start to finish, this album, more than almost any other, cemented him in my mind as a musical genius. And man, do I ever miss physical media. I greatly miss physical. This folds out. Here, let me get over here where I can sit down and show you. Yeah, this folds out into. I miss this. You know, music is more accessible now than ever, but you just don't have things like that anymore. And I'm sure the album was absolutely amazing to look at, but I would sit and listen to this album and look at these pictures 40 years ago, man. 40 years. Doesn't seem possible. I remember that there's a lot of synth guitar on here, which I was just blown away by. And it's a work of genius. That's all I'm going to say. It's a work of genius. But anyway, the reason I'm making this video and putting this up is, I'm kind of speechless holding this in my hand. I'd forgotten that I still had it. It brings back a lot of memories. I'm wondering. No. None of that smells there anymore. And I can't even describe the smell. But it was I almost wondered if they didn't put some sort of perfume in the plastic or in these cassettes somehow. Because it had a fruity, flowery smell to it that no other cassette I've ever bought has ever had. So if you guys know, let me know, because I would really love to know why it had that smell. I really would. But yeah, so 10 years ago, and I'll be putting this up. You'll be watching this on April 21st. 10 years ago was the day Prince passed away, and I'll never forget that morning. All of my friends know what a huge fan of Prince I was, and I remember waking up that morning, and I had a message on my phone, and it was a text message from my friend Don, and it said, "Don't look at Facebook, call me." And that wasn't normal for him to do, so I did not look at Facebook, and I called Don, and he wanted to break it to me as a human being and not just read it somewhere that Prince had passed away. And you remember, like I can remember where I was when the space shuttle exploded exactly. I can remember where I was when on 9/11, exactly what I was doing, and I can still remember that morning exactly how it felt. I remember being in complete disbelief. I mean, Prince was 57, so he was almost 2 years younger. He was just before 50, so he was 2 years younger than I am now, or a year and a half, whatever, younger than I am now. I was 8 years younger than Prince. Wait, no. He was 57, and it was 10 years ago, so I was 10 years younger. Anyway. Wow. So, yeah. And I remember it struck me that I was real close to the age my dad was when Prince passed. And I remember feeling guilty when I surpassed my father's age. And I felt a little guilty when I beat 57. Like, how's somebody like me going to have more years than a musical genius? How's somebody like me going to have more years than his own father, you know? So, but the good thing about Prince and his music is it's always here. And there's so much, and they're pulling out more. There's even more coming out of his vault all the time. Today there's the demo he did of a song he did for Celine Dion that they're going to release, and I can't wait to hear it. You know, anything that I hear of Prince is to me amazing, absolutely amazing. And funnily enough, I guess, because I am a big Prince fan, and people know this, I get a lot of Prince-related gifts, and a lot of them are put up. I was lucky enough to see Prince in concert, see him live, and I took my son, and that was my son's first concert, and I had to tell him halfway through that no other concert will be this good, and he has since several times confirmed to me that no other musical thing he's ever seen has been that good. It was an amazing show. And we were really lucky we were in the third row back, but the stage was shaped like a cross. And I was on the end of the third row, which was actually closer to the stage than the front row. And it was the end that Prince was at all the time almost. So to sit there and have Prince, you know, a foot and a half from you playing guitar is just an amazing experience. It was pretty awesome. And he put on one hell of a show. No opening act. They did over 3 hours. The band in the middle went off stage, and Prince sat there with an acoustic guitar for 40 minutes and played. I mean, it was pretty incredible. Pretty incredible show. But friends have bought me things, and I appreciate every one of them. But I'm going to show you that I didn't get a t-shirt from that show, because t-shirts I don't preserve them, and I tear them up, and I don't, I'm never been a person who preserves t-shirts and takes care of them. So I got this keychain, which I've kept, and it actually shocked the living crap out of me during the winter when it was real dry in here. I hit my head on it, but I put it on a pull chain on my ceiling fan. I'll show it to you. It's quite a neat metal keychain. It weighs a lot. It would be a horrible keychain to have in your pocket, but man, is it cool. It weighs a ton. And the funny thing was, I was watching a video not long ago, and Prince was wearing like a necklace or something. It looked just like he'd taken one of these and put it on a chain. So I think that's what it was, to be honest. But yeah, that's my keepsake from that concert, and I'll never get rid of that thing. I'll have it hanging from my mirror in my car or something if I live in my car, because it's gonna be there. Not sure how well you can see this, but this is a poster that a buddy of mine got me in Memphis not too long ago, and I decided to stick it up on the wall here. That's a quintessential Prince picture with that amazing guitar from Purple Rain. The look on his face gets me. That's the look of somebody who is 100% focused on what he's doing. Last one I'm going to show you is a mystery. I had a band called Deacon Dark 20 years ago, and the bass player in that band was a guy named Glenn Smith. And Glenn Smith called me one day and said I need to come up to the music store where he gave lessons because he had something. And he swears up and down he doesn't know who left this. He said it was in his music room with a note on it saying for Ted. Doesn't know who left it there. The music store people didn't know who it was, just said it was a woman that brought this in. Now, I don't know who you are, but this gift, whoever you are, and if you're watching this, I just want to say thank you, because this means a lot to me. It really does, and it was not inexpensive, I know, because I had seen these, I'd looked at them, and I was not going to spend that much because I'm cheap. And then whoever you are, you had it framed too, which couldn't have been cheap either. So let me just show it to you. This is a print by an artist, and I wish I could remember her name now. I should have looked it up. But you can see where she signed it right there. She was commissioned by Prince to do these portraits for, I believe they were for Paisley Park, for where he lived. And part of the deal with that was she got the rights to sell, I guess, these prints or lithographs or whatever they are of it. And it's pretty big. It's a pretty good size print, and it's absolutely amazing. Apparently, when Prince saw these, he was super, super pleased with them, from what I hear. She captured his spirit so well. And this means a lot to me. This is something I will never, ever get rid of. I will never stick it in a closet or anything. It's always going to have a place in my home. Because it reminds me, one, of my favorite artist's music, and two, it reminds me that people care about me, you know, and even if they don't want it known who they are, someone cares. And to know someone cares that much means the absolute world to me. So it's probably one of my favorite gifts of all time. My top favorite gift is a watch that my little sister bought me that I will also never get rid of. But this is up there, man. This is really up there. Prince passed away on April 21st of 2016, and he left behind a wealth of music and movies and videos and creativity that will probably, it won't be surpassed in my lifetime by anybody. There are a lot of people who would like to think they could do that, but he was tireless. He stayed in the studio. He never stopped recording. I wish that I had half of that resilience and ability to persevere in the face of all kinds of things. Because he didn't have it easy either. You know, he was different. He was probably picked on some. I've heard that his ability to play basketball and make music are what kept him from getting beat up all the time. So he found the key at an early age, I think, to not to fitting in, but to being so much yourself that nothing can touch you. And I'm sure he had to build up some walls to be that way. And I'm sure that's part of what made him like he was, which was, you know, sometimes cantankerous and hard to deal with. He tested people, he pushed people to their limits, because he had no limits. So anyway, I just want to take today and honor this guy that means a lot to me, and has meant a lot to me for 50 years, almost 50 years. So anyway, sometimes it really does snow in April, and listen to some Prince music today. I will be all day. I'm not going to listen to anything else today but Prince. I guarantee you. And I could probably listen to nothing but Prince for 2 solid weeks and never repeat a song. So anyway, just know that no matter how alone you feel in the world, you're not alone, and there's somebody out there who understands, and there is someone out there who is probably making music for you right now. Yeah. And that's a pretty good legacy for somebody to leave behind. So be good to each other. It costs nothing to be nice, man. And the world needs a lot more niceness, needs a lot more circle of goodness, and it needs a whole lot more Prince in it. I'll see you next time.